So, since many of you have taken part in the Marici Fellowship's meetings and activities, and that's been taking part since February this year, I think, and heard a lot of our ideas through that, I don't think I need to say too much, as the whole point of our fellowship is about action rather than just words, really. But since I was the one who got this thing going, so I thought I better just throw a little light on what, why, and how. So, actually, I gotta say, this all started out over pizza. Seriously. Not precisely that kind of pizza, but yeah. And how that happened was earlier this year when we visited Seattle, some of our friends wanted to take us out for lunch, pizza. And during that time, Kinsella was going over some of the appointments and stuff that we got coming up in the car. Which I was only half listening to it, to be honest. So yeah, something like that. I'm just going like, yeah, sure, yeah, whatever, put in, yeah, we can do that, yeah. But then I heard a bit about pizza. Now, obviously, that got my attention. That we're going out to have lunch at such and such a time. And at the same time, I was looking out from my car window, and I couldn't help but notice that there were so many, homeless people here on the Seattle streets. And so right away I mentioned that, that's all nice and well, but you know what I would like to do? So what I would like to do is give those guys some pizza. And then I thought, why not? So right away I went to mention to some of our friends here, and fortunately they all agreed. Great. So let's put the Dharma into action and share our food for those who need it. So around the same time, I was reminded that I had many emails to reply to from friends here in Sake Monastery who were asking for our guidance on how to better facilitate members' meetings and activities outside of the regular, pujas, classes, and meditations. And that whole pizza episode was still fresh in my mind. So, yeah, one thing led to another, and before I knew it, I'd written the Marici Fellowship in my notebook. And even tried doodling some logos, which didn't go well. So, it wasn't just the theories of the Dharma that really inspired our ideas for the fellowship, but the perfect example being lived by my late grandfather, His Holiness Jiral Bachen Dorje-chang, that really brought this vision to life. No, it was all him. His hard work, his selfless service for others, his relentless care for those who needed it, really made me realize that all of this, the name, the logo, the meetings, the activities, the organizing, all of it was just the packaging for the gift he already gave us. And so that together we could, and so that we would follow his example, his teachings, by putting the Dharma into action for the benefit of all. So, yeah, ever since then, we don't just have a name and a logo. We got caps, we got T-shirts, and a whole lot of warm-hearted and generous bodhisattvas in training that really, who want to be part of the Marici Fellowship and really want to make a difference in our community and our world. Now, that's an important theme. Why a fellowship? I mean, what does that even mean? Well, why we wanted that was because the whole raison d'etre, am I saying that right? Okay. The whole raison d'etre of the Mahayana Buddhism is that when we see mistreated animals, when we see bullied teens, or a friend's son ruining his life through substance abuse issues, or homeless people struggling on the streets and so on, there is no us and them. They're all our loved ones of old. All dear wandering beings who have shown us, who have given us so much love, so much kindness, so much benefit from countless previous lives, just like our loved ones in this very life have given us. So, how can we just leave them like that? How can we just sit and do nothing? How can we just sit around in the monastery and pray and aspire for freedom of the suffering of all sentient beings in the whole wide world and turn a blind eye to the suffering right on our doorstep? Now, as we recite in the prayer book, you can see there's a prayer called the Aspiration for Success. And in that prayer, there's a line, you can see, it says, any little thing that can make a difference. Any little thing that can make a difference. I mean, sure, we can solve all the problems in our community right now, let alone the whole universe. But we at least try to do what we can. And what we can do is we can do it so much better and really make a difference when we are together. So feeling that sense of genuine compassion, we form a sense of a kinship or a fellowship of, and recognize that this is not something outside of the Dharma, but an integral part of it as Mahayana practitioners. This means that whether it's someone like Venerable Lekshe, who visits prison to offer chaplaincy, which is what he's doing right now, or 2 or 3 members helping out an animal rescue center, or 4 or 5 people planting trees or picking up garbage to help the environment, or helping people, just supporting people dealing with their, addiction-related problems, or a whole group of us going out to donate provisions to the homeless, whatever it is, we are all part of a fellowship of mutually supportive friends. Yes, and when I first came up with that slogan, putting the Dharma into action for the benefit of all. Now, some friends came to me and said, Rinpoche, don't you mean by putting bodhicitta in action? Don't you mean by putting compassion into action and so on? So I had to say, I understand what you're trying to say, but in the way my grandfather taught us, there is no Dharma without compassion. It means the same thing. This is because we recognize that we need the Dharma to awaken our replete Buddha nature, to be in optimum capacity to benefit other sentient beings. And yes, sure, this is, a first and foremost personal practice of internal development through meditation, morality, and developing wisdom, and so on and so forth. But in helping those who need it, in fellowship with other walkers of the way of wisdom and compassion, does not detract us from that process. No, in fact, it actually enhances it. It actually enhances the merits towards our ultimate goal. So therefore, when we in the fellowship work together and have motivation of bodhicitta, and then act out of bodhicitta, and then dedicate the virtues of such actions to the bodhi of all sentient beings, then this is no ordinary act of charity, right? But an extraordinary act, an extraordinary way of developing bodhicitta that helps others. And now remember, today we're not going out there today to preach the Dharma as a philosophy or a religion or whatever, but we're going out there today by living the Dharma, by an example. And then, so in that way, we were going out living the Dharma by example, just like my grandfather did throughout the world through his amazing life. So in that way, it's our hope that not only do many sentient beings, without any discrimination, benefit from the activities of the Marici Fellowship, but many people from divergent backgrounds, whether it's not just Buddhists or followers of one particular tradition, will feel inspired to want to join the Marici Fellowship or support its noble work. Now, there's already some reflections I wrote in the prayer book about why we chose Marici as our inspiration. So, you all know that her symbolism is sunlight. The sun shines its light without any discrimination on where it lands and dispels all the darkness. In the same way, by putting the Dharma into action by body, speech, mind, we will be radiating that, Marici's divine light that clears away all the outer obstacles, the sorrows, the pain, the suffering from the world, without any bias or without any agenda. So now what are the areas we're focusing that healing light of Marici on right now? Well, we have highlighted some of the main focuses for the fellowship to initially focus on. And that is first homelessness, poverty, mental health, addiction recovery and support, bullying and other youth issues, prisons, death, dying and bereavement, supporting carers, animal welfare, and ecology. So those are the main focus. And then although we may be focusing on one particular point of focus at a time as a group here, but our hope is that we eventually develop to be able to support other several projects, if that can be done in a mutually supportive way. And so it's really encouraging that everyone has put so much effort and has worked so hard to organize a day like today. We have several activities that have been suggested and organized in the fellowship's gathering. So through the fellowship, the work, and we can have, through the fellowship, we can have a bigger event like today, plus smaller activities going on. And so through sharing that, the work of the Marici Fellowship will surely grow from strength to strength. Now, so far we've been talking about what's been going on our own doorstep here in Seattle, but already the scope of the Marici Fellowship has broadened. Okay, so last month we had beautiful acts of generosity and loving kindness going on at the same time to in different places in Delhi, Bhutan, Nepal, Australia, and even in the UK to coincide with the 1-year anniversary of my maternal grandmother's passing away. And we have appointed some official representatives of the fellowship in those countries too. And now, there's interest in other places as well. Now, although we have started and will remain based here in Sakya Monastery, but we have already inspired many people from all over the world to want to be part of this work, to want to be part of this Marici Fellowship. And we hope that here and throughout the world, the work of the Marici Fellowship will benefit many sentient beings in need, as well as the environment that supports them. I think that's all I have to say. Finally, I want to thank everyone who has been part of creating the fellowship, and thank everyone who has organized today. For those of you who wish to help in the Marici Fellowship's in future activities, and I want to thank, from the bottom of my heart, I want to thank every single one of you to being part of this. Thank you.